it's real difficult to come from, a 12th place start or something in Supercross and get up to like a podium position. That's tough to do with how stacked the class is. Unless you're willing to take like, some of the extra risks, as in like stuff that I used to be able to use, stuff that I used to do, shoot the gap whenever there's not really space, or do the big rhythm section that nobody else was doing, or whatever.
Yeah.
And this year I've been, obviously, like, one of my big goals has been making the whole series. So I haven't taken those risks near as much. So for me, coming from a not good start has been a lot harder this year than maybe it's been in years past. So just starting up there is really, a big deal for me. I feel like it's really important for me right now. So, but when I start up there, I might get passed by a couple guys, but I started second and I finished fifth this weekend. So, I can live with that.
Yeah.
Going backwards more than that, obviously I wouldn't be happy with, but I can live with that. And I'm never happy going backwards, but I think I've been saying, I think a fifth is kind of like right around there is about where I fit in right now, speed wise. I just need a good start. And, I got a good start at Washougal, finished fifth. Got a good start last night, finished fifth, last weekend, finished fifth, So I feel like that's speed wise about where I belong. A couple guys made mistakes, a couple guys didn't. And that's where I ended up finishing. I think a good start just allows me to show my riding more than a bad start. And typically this season I've gotten a lot of bad starts. So my riding has kind of gone unnoticed, because I'm always coming from the back. I'm coming from the back.
You're just surviving almost.
Yeah, I can only get to a certain point, or like I was saying about the whole taking risk things, so there's some races where I just, you got to get aggressive. You got to shoot those tiny gaps to make a pass. And to be honest, I just don't really want to do that. So there's a lot of races where I'll get stuck behind guys whenever I am faster, just because, I don't want to take that extra little risk to make the pass, when if I just would have gotten a bad start, then that would have allowed me to kind of show my ride more up to my potential, I guess.
The bike fixes or the changes, the improvements, team secret's probably a little bit, but was it chassis, suspension? Can you tell us exactly what it was, or is that like, you don't want to let that out?
Yeah, I mean, it was chassis related. It was a chassis related thing that I feel like that was maybe why it took us so long to fix, because we kept trying to fix it with suspension. And anybody that knows is like, chassis is one of the most important things, because you get the chassis set up right. I.e. as in, frame, linkage, swing arm, subframe, pull rod, triple clamps, things like that, chassis related. You get those set up, and then you kind of build the suspension, at least with me, maybe this is just me, but I especially on Supercross, because the impacts are so heavy and there's so much stress on the bike, and so flex, or I guess lack thereof flex, as in a rigid bike, is really important on Supercross. Not as much outdoors, but you still need the right amount of flex, or amount of give within the chassis, but not too much, because if the bike flexes too much, then it gets almost bound up, and then it handles worse. So the bike needs to flex. It can't just be rock solid, but it can't flex too much. So and there's a bunch of different ways to go about trying to figure that out. For Supercross, you almost want a really stiff and rigid like chassis, and then soften that up with the suspension. We were trying to fix, I guess, a little bit of a chassis issue with suspension, and there's only so much you can do with suspension in that way, as in suspension, as in fork and shock. There was kind of a general problem that me and Jordan were kind of feeling. We've been feeling kind of all year, and we finally kind of got that worked out. So, and we have more ideas to even make it better, going into this off season. So I'm pretty confident that I think the bike will be even better going into next year.
But you also talked about the team being supportive. And at some point, though, the teams, like most teams anyway, would be, okay, now we got to start getting results. And that might mean taking some risks. Have you guys talked about that in any way, shape, or form?
I mean, yeah, there's been talks about it. Like, I don't think they need to talk to me that much because I don't enjoy getting finishes where a lot of my finishes have been this season.
Yeah.
And I've made that pretty, like, I don't think they really even need to, like, talk to me about that because I'm pretty, I guess, like, they know just by my attitude and I wasn't happy ever with some of the results that I've gotten this season. Some of the fifths, some of the top 10s and stuff, I can be happy with that. But some of the finishes outside of the top 10 and stuff, like those were just, I mean, they're not acceptable for me. You know,
Sure.
I can't be okay with that. And I know where I think I should be. And, I think that they know that. They know that I know where I should be. So I don't think they've really had to have those conversations with me very often because I know, like I was just winning races last year. You know, it was just last year when I was, you know, at the top. So, you know, I know where I should be, but I also know what I had to do in order to be there. And what came from being there, which was, you know, some bad crashes and a lot of time being hurt. And that was a lot of speed and a lot of, you know, race wins and stuff. But I have to trade a little bit of that. There is give and take, you know, that's what is tough because, you know, it was going to be really hard for me to just immediately say this year, okay, I'm gonna make every race, but I'm not gonna lose any speed. I'm not gonna lose any aggressiveness. I'm not gonna lose any of that other stuff. Well, that's really hard to do because a lot of that speed and aggressiveness and stuff came from taking those extra risks, which some of them led to me getting hurt. So, like I said, there's give and take. And in order to gain more races, being healthy at more races, I have to take away a little bit of some of those, you know, some of the things that I did in, you know, previous years, like take those extra risks, do the biggest rhythm sections, do the, you know, whatever, shoot the gaps whenever there's no room, basically. You know, I would do that. And some of those that led to me, you know, winning some races, but it also led to me getting hurt a lot. So I'm trying to find that middle ground. And I think I'm finally starting to get there, I think.
Speaking of maturity, this next question touches on that a little bit. You may not want to touch this question, but Cody975 Piscatelli, should Hayden Deegan chill out with the cockiness? Now, Austin, you were young once, man. You were the superstar coming in, and you had a little cockiness at one point. So you can speak on this if you feel like it.
Yeah, no, I think about that sometimes too, because like I've obviously said some stupid stuff. I've done some stupid things back when I was young and whatever. You know, and maybe that's a little bit of the reason why I've had my career the way that it has, to kind of, you know, make me into the person that I'm meant to be. Because I definitely know that if I haven't had the career that I've had and had to go through the things that I've gone through, I definitely would not be the person that I am. I feel like I just have a much different mindset than if I would have continued to win kind of from 2019, whenever I was really winning all those races and I basically had the championship wrapped up, and then I blew my knee. And then the next year when I was battling with Ferrandis and I got hurt at the last round, you know, in my opinion, I think I should have won at least one or maybe both of those championships if I hadn't have gotten hurt. So, but then who knows what that would have led to, you know, just that's the thing is like, I don't regret. Do I wish I would have won a championship by now? Yes. But, or, you know, maybe and just not gotten hurt as much also. Yes. But I don't trade what I've learned from all those things, because they've made me into who I am, you know, who I am now. And I am pretty proud, I think, of some of the things that I've gotten through and some of the things that I even just today deal with on a daily basis. I think that I deal with a lot of things that I don't think, somebody else could deal with and continue to race. Back to your original question, should he not be like that? I mean, yeah, I guess, yeah, he probably shouldn't. But, he's definitely not the type of dude that I really want to hang out with, if I'm being honest. But that's who he is. That's, I guess right now he can back it up.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's a lot easier to be like that whenever you are winning. And once you do get a little ego check, as in a little injury or things like that, you start to change. That stuff starts to change you a little bit. He's a good rider.
Yeah.
You can't take that away from him. He's a damn good rider, especially right now, and you can't take that away from him. I just sometimes wish that he would win and then know how to stop talking. But that's sometimes winning in silence is the best. But he can do that his way. It's his life. He can live it how he wants to. But
I like the kid, man. Like, I've sat and talked to him off the record, and I feel like it's a dual personality. I think a little bit of it is show.